Devin's moment, Tillis's minutes have gone up each of the 3 games out there. Pretty productive today. Where is he at? What are you seeing, and how are you kind of fitting him back into the rotation?
Yeah, I mean, certainly he's going to come off the bench, with Tess and sub for Tess, but he also, I think we're trying to figure out, can he sub for other positions as well? And I think you saw the lineups that we played today, and had the 2 big line up a little bit, to see if they could defend a really tough offense, that's spread out, and then also, Tillis, Tess, and one of the bigs. And I think it's just something that we're going to go to and we're going to need over the course of the season, and we're going to want to cultivate.
Speaking of that, how does Grunlow and his ability to stretch the court? I know that was part of his appeal coming in, but hadn't really done it up until today and then made 2 threes today. How does that help?
Yeah, it definitely helps. It helps his psyche too, because, he knows he can make shots and hasn't so far this season, but he can't become hyper-focused on the 3. The 3 is kind of like, the dessert. It's not where he needs to really focus his efforts. He's got to be able to finish inside. He's got to be able to catch in around the basket. He's got to be able to block shots, all the things that he's doing, and some better than others. And then when teams back off, he can knock it down. I think it was good to see that go in tonight.
Where do you think the team's defense is as you head into what are going to be 2 probably very challenging games?
It's not where we want it to be, totally. We've got to get better, defensively. Too many times we're getting beat off the bounce, getting caught in some communication errors. The defensive rebounding was not where it needed to be in this particular game. We had it going in spurts, but it wasn't a consistent effort overall. And the guys understand that. They understood that at halftime when we met with them. And too many 50-50 balls that we didn't get tonight. We've got to play harder, and it's got to mean a little bit more. The guys understand that, because the competition is going to continue to increase, as we go about the season. So the guys understand and are excited about, where they're headed. But certainly not satisfied with where we are right now.
Jeff, then Mike, then Jackson. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Mike, then Jackson.
Sticking with the idea of the competition kind of ramping up a little. SEC, ACC challenge, you talked in the preseason about you think the ACC is stronger this year. The SEC is obviously a league that's invested a ton in basketball. How important specifically are these matchups for the conference when we get to March and people have their narrative of what the AC is?
Yeah, I think there's certainly talking points, and we can't really control that. Ultimately we have to do our part, within the games. It is what it is. We have to win, and we being the ACC, and win as many games as we can. And some of these matchups are going to be tough on the road, some at home where you have to take care of business. And we have the full confidence, of league and the coaches and the players, in this league. Certainly something that, I think all of the teams, want to do well, and ultimately you have to play well that particular night, and we can't get caught up in it because it is just one game, but they're all important games. They're opportunities, for our league, and so we want to make the most of the opportunities that we're being given, whether it's on the road or at home.
Coach, in that first half, that stretch where you went from leading 21-8, and then, Queens kind of made a little bit of a run. What did you see that kind of knocked your guys out of their rhythm a little bit? And then how do you feel like they were able – what did you think of their kind of recovery later in the half? Yeah,
I thought that the response was positive, throughout the first half. We had a couple of turnovers. I think we only had 3 in the half, but, sometimes even when you only have 3, they seem like you've had 10. And it kills the momentum a little bit. And then we weren't rebounding. The defensive rebounding and the fouling, was a problem, during that stretch you're talking about. And so when the game slows down and the other team's at the free throw line, because you didn't box out and get the rebound and you turned it over on the other end, then, the chance of a run for the other team is pretty good. So, basketball is a game of runs, and you have to minimize them. And when you get into a rut, find your way out, and you have to do that, in a collective way. And I think our guys did that tonight. They took it upon not themselves, to do it. They all did it together, which is something that we've been preaching to them.
With all the scores you have on this team, it seems like Sam sometimes gets overlooked. Can you just talk about his role and what he brings to the team?
Yeah, I mean, Sam's a really good player, and we have quite a few good players on our roster, and guys that deserve time and deserve attention. But Sam understands that the open guy a lot of times is the go-to guy for us, and the more that we pass the ball to one another, the ball will find you. And certainly we're going to run plays for specific guys and try to get them shots. But I thought Sam did a nice job of picking his spots tonight. And, most importantly, his defense was pretty good too.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thanks.